Hey, it's me again, your man, Coach Ivan Hunt. You can find out more about me on my Facebook page, Coach Ivan Hunt. As you know, if you watch my videos and you follow my blog and everything, then you know May is the Borderline Personality Disorder Awareness Month. And I've made it my mission in life. My pain is my purpose, right? My pain is my passion. You know, my pain is borderline and bipolar. You know, my purpose and my passion is to raise awareness for borderline personality disorder. You know, I was doing some research this morning. I was watching a YouTube video from this, I won't mention the guy's name, but he was talking about what it's like to love someone with borderline personality disorder and then what happens when, you break up with them. And so I'm listening to this guy talk, right? He's saying all the things, that borderlines are manipulative, borderlines are liars, they're cheaters, they're abusive, verbally, emotionally, physically sometimes, that they were unstable. They had a love-hate relationship with the person that they love. I mean, this guy went on and on and on about all the negative qualities about people with borderline personality disorder. And I'm sitting there listening to him, and hell, I start feeling like shit myself. I start feeling like, dang, man, I'm worthless. I ain't nothing, And then I've been advised by mental health professionals, don't tell anybody that you're getting treated for this. There's a bad stigma with it. Don't let people know that this is something that you struggle with because you don't want people to look at you the wrong way. Now think about that for a second. If people are telling me, not to tell the things that ail me, then how do you think that makes that person feel? So, for example, if you have the flu or you catch pneumonia, they tell you not to tell somebody, that don't make much sense, right? You're going to tell people, oh, I'm sick, I've got the flu, or I'm sick, I got pneumonia. I had an accident, I broke my leg, something like that, right? You're going to tell people, there's not a stigma associated with that. So if one of the biggest issues that people with borderline struggle with is self-image, and you tell the person with borderline, hey, look, you can't tell nobody that you have this mental illness, then how do you think that's going to help their self-image? It's not. It's it's almost counterintuitive, counterproductive. So like I said, I was listening to this guy talking about relationships and, how bad it was to be in a relationship with people like borderline. And I admit, in my own life, I have destroyed virtually every relationship I've ever been in. And as I was going through it, I really didn't understand what was happening. Right. So, it's sort of like if you know better, you do better. If you're aware, then you can make changes. But if you're not aware, then how can you make changes? So I could see in my own life where borderline has caused me to, be manipulative, to be a liar, to be a cheater, to create havoc within a relationship, to push the person that I love the most away. I could see where this illness has hindered my life. Even, I self-sabotage a lot. It's caused me not to be successful. Or every time I get close to success, I'll do something to kind of self-destruct, because that goes back to that lack of self-image. But the main point of this video today, and again, is talking about this guy that I was watching on YouTube, and he was saying all these negative things about people with borderline, is to break the stigma of that, right? Because deep down, I'm one of the most loyal people you ever meet in your life. I'm one of the most compassionate people you ever meet in your life. I'm one of the most loving people you ever meet in your life. Yes, I've been advised not to tell people that I have this illness and I struggle with, this thing. But that doesn't make me a bad person. That just means that, there's things, some of it genetically, that's imbalanced within my life. I didn't do anything to cause it. I didn't wake up and decide to say, hey, look, let me have borderline personality, bipolar, and, ADHD and whatever else, anxieties, panic attacks, substance abuse issues. I didn't wake up one day and volunteer for this. This is just something that happened and I had no control over. And the mere fact that I had no control over, but yet still, I'm still responsible for the things that I do, right? And so a lot of the things that I do are automatic responses that have been built in my brain as a defense mechanism to protect me. And it only really comes out to people that can hurt me the most. And the people that can hurt me the most are the people that I love the most, right? So, it acts up, or it comes out. What I mean by comes out, the borderline, the character traits, the trust issues, the projecting, splitting. What I mean by splitting is when you really start hurting, instead of showing love for that person, you show anger, right? You love them and then you hate them, but then don't leave me, because you have an extreme fear of abandonment, and you have extreme fears of rejection, and that has to do with your low self-image. You're not really sure who you are. There's a lot of impulsivity issues. There's sexual promiscuity, that goes on with it. So there's a lot of self-destructive behaviors that come with borderline personality disorder that the person really doesn't understand. They know something is not quite right, but they can't quite figure out what exactly that is. So imagine living a life that's pure chaos, that something's wrong, but you're not real sure what it is. But yet still, you're responsible for your actions, and understandably so. So a lot of the times what happens with borderlines is, they play a victim. They have this victim mentality. And one of the things that I've had to really work on here lately is, really taking a step back and taking ownership of my own shit, right? Realizing that, I may have this illness, but that doesn't excuse the things I've done. That doesn't make me right. That doesn't justify my mistakes or my actions, right? Or lack of actions. It doesn't soothe over the hurts and pains that I've caused other people. So that's something that I've had to really work on and really look at, and again, take ownership of. The illness itself doesn't excuse me, right? But what it does is it helps me see just how much this illness has impacted my life. And it shows me all the areas of my life that has been affected by this mental illness. So one of the things that I always try to do now is, one, break the stigma of it. That not everybody with borderline personality disorder is going to kill themselves, right? Even though the statistics say 1 in 10, 80% attempt suicide. I'm probably part of that 80%, obviously, because I'm still here. I didn't kill myself, so I'm still here. So I'm part of that 80%. And 50%, have a substance abuse issue. I fall in that category too. Most of them have a co-occurring condition, meaning they're not just borderline, but they're borderline and something else. I fall in that category too. So what it's done is it's made me research what borderline is, how it has impacted my life. And then through therapy, right, called dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT, it's teaching me how to slow my mind down, how to kind of analyze my thoughts and ask myself, are these thoughts appropriate for this particular situation? Are these feelings appropriate for this particular, situation? I had a tendency to throw temper tantrums. Literally, if I didn't get my way with my wife, I just blow up on her, right? Either through text messages or in her face, whatever the case, I just blow up on her. And I never really realized it until after I started, getting therapy. And then one day I kind of had a temper tantrum with her, and I couldn't figure out why I had, such a negative response to her, because I sent her a text message and she didn't respond right away. So I felt like, well, man, she must be mad at me. She don't like me. She's pissed off at me. She don't want to talk to me. And I just started panicking inside. And as a result of that, I started getting anxiety attacks. And the more anxiety attacks I got, the more my panic increased and anger I got, and I couldn't figure out what, so I just fired off some text messages to her. And finally she called me and she was like, "What is wrong with you?" And as soon as she called, I calmed down. And I realized right then and there that, I was acting like a 2-year-old with a temper tantrum. And what it was all about was I just wanted her attention. That's all it was. I just wanted her attention. People with borderline struggle with, trust, but they always need reassurance, because there's that real fear of abandonment, that the person that they love is just going to up and leave them, that the person that they love is going to view them as not being lovable anymore. So there's always that big fear of abandonment. And I could see where my insecurities at that particular moment, and a lot of it was just concocted in my own head, right? Because that's what happens with borderlines. They make up stuff in their own head, and it creates all this chaos. And they believe the stuff that goes on in their head. You know, they can't, it's a hard time sometimes differentiate between what's reality and what's thought. You know, there's a distortion of reality because of the way our brains function. You know, it's a really, really complex personality disorder. You know, it's a really, really complex illness. And I'm almost fascinated by it because of its complexity, because it challenges me to really think, and it challenges me to really look deep within myself. And what I realized about my temper tantrum that day was, it was all because I missed her. I wanted her attention. And of course she was at work, and you know, she was doing her thing. And so you can imagine me blowing up her phone over a temper tantrum, and I wanted her attention, and she's at work. You could tell that probably made her day miserable, and thus her work performance suffers. So it's little things like that, man, that I never really knew how this thing impacted my life. So I've kind of made it my purpose now to raise the awareness of borderline personality disorder. You know, there are statistics that say 1.9% of the population of the U.S. population has it, as high as 6%. You know, so if you're looking at 6%, that's around 8-9 million people. And if, you know, 1 in 10 of those are killing themselves, man, that's a pretty serious condition, you know? So I've made it my mission to raise the awareness of it, and try to bring hope to those who suffer with mental illnesses, and try to help other people understand that, you know, just because you can't see it, you know, because it's not a physical illness, just because you can't see it does not mean that it's any less of an illness. In fact, I would beg to argue, you know, that it's probably even more serious because you can't see it. And there's such a negative stigmatism to mental illnesses that nobody raises their hand and says, I need help, particularly men. You know, we're taught that we got to be tough. So when we encounter depressions, anxieties, we have unstable relationships, you know, we have a hard time being faithful to women, stuff like that, man, we don't associate it with it being potentially due to a chemical imbalance inside your brain or an illness. So that's part of my mission here. So one of the ways you can help me continue to do this, if you go to my Facebook page, Coach Ivan Hunt, you know, I'm selling shirts there called BPD Awareness, and that helps support me so I can continue my mission. You can also purchase my book there, and that helps me continue my mission. I'm open to speaking to any group, any organization about my experiences. I'm also a certified professional life coach, so I'm also looking to do coaching services as well. But I really want to use this platform to try to help other people. So with that being said, this is my video for today. Stay tuned. I'm gonna have more videos. I'm gonna have more comments. I'm gonna have more blogs, more posts all this month about borderline personality disorder. Love y'all. Peace.